What's going on, everybody? It is Damian G as well as Terrell, and we are back
Hey,
with another review. How's it going, my friend?
pretty good. How's you go? How are you doing?
Man, listen, for those that don't know, this is take two of this particular episode we're trying to get down. So
Right.
we're going to have some fun. We were recently privileged, I guess, to watch the first two episodes of Naomi, the TV series on the CW, which is based off the comic books character created by Brian Michael Bendis. This actual television show is developed by Ava DuVernay. So we go into it thinking this is going to have a lot of substance to it. It's not going to be just a brainless superhero television show. It's going to have some depth, hopefully, and some soul. So when we go into it, where we're not saying we're going to hold it to a higher standard than some of the other shows that we may watch, but we do have a little bit of like wait and see approach based on who has made this and who has given their knowledge base to this. So before I even get into it, I want you to give me one or two sentences that best describes the first two episodes for you.
Um, Confused teenagers figuring out life that never get to the point.
Fair. I'll say a superheroine origin story surrounded by preteen angst.
It was real angsty.
Really
You,
angsty.
you could feel it. It was like, oh man, like,
Oh man, because okay, so this series revolves around a character by the name of Naomi McDuffie, who we are introduced to her in episode one. She is a Superman fanatic, not just a fan, kids. She is a fanatic. She
oh,
runs what seems to be a blog mixed with a YouTube channel regarding Superman and everything Superman related. We are introduced to kind of her hipster vibe in the first maybe 2 minutes of the show as she's shown skateboarding throughout town, and we are led to believe that this is a small military town of a bunch of like military transplants mixed with townies, which apparently is like almost a civil war that seems to brew in the high school with that. So she's a teenage girl with her friend groups and her myriad of what seems to be potential relationship orbiters, because when we say preteen angst, she has way too many suitors in these first two episodes for me to be okay, cool. We're just gonna One Tree Hill this. I see. All right, or like
yeah,
you
they
say,
were definitely all dating each
Riverdale.
other.
They're all gonna wind up dating each other, it seems. But the origin story starts with her in her town. We meet her dorky ass parents, who we find out she's adopted, and we'll get to why the dorkiness doesn't do them any favors in this show. And apparently Superman is fighting in the town square. She's on debate club. She faints on the way to go see Superman. She misses the entire fight, almost like sleeping through the movie Titanic. And then when she wakes up, people are telling her what happened, who was Superman fighting, and she tries to go to find out whether or not this is real. Because apparently superheroes aren't real, but they are real in this universe. Is that what you kind of got?
Yeah, I was very confused as to what was the. I was like, okay, is this like her doing a blog on Superman as he exists in the world? But then they kind of backtrack and say, you know what? No, Superman's not real. This is which made no sense. So,
Right, because some people made it seem as if Superman's a real person, but then the military was acting as if they didn't think he was, and now he is. So you get a lot of mixed messages. And in her course of her Scooby doing it, to quote Doctor Strange, to get to the bottom of information, she comes across, these rather unique persons in her town that are either really, really creepy, really, really quiet, or both. And they all seem to be circulating around the town square during the fight that Superman is having. Superman will say, because a lot of people are saying it was wires and stunts, it was fake news. But apparently, as I believe it's episode 2, we find out at the end of episode 1, we find out that the local tattoo artist turns out to be a Thanagarian, but he's not Hawkman. He's a Thanagarian. And apparently her powers are starting to develop. Seems like he's going to be the Miyagi to her Daniel-san. And we are introduced to potentially the first villain of the story, who is this foreboding used car salesman who just walks around in a trench coat and looks very menacing, like he was
Villain
on an
attire.
episode of The Wire. You know what I mean? Like that's the vibe I got from him, like the neighborhood gangster who's everybody's afraid of and doesn't want to talk to. I don't know. It's just a lot of confusing character notes so far in these first 2 episodes. And that's just the superhero portion. Then there's the romance and dating portion, which completely lost me because there's 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 people who are romantically interested in Naomi, and she's either totally just out to lunch about it, or she just wants to keep everybody in the friend zone because it suits her.
I don't think, and I think that's why they kind of address it. I don't think that portion of her brain kind of kicked in about what she was doing. Like she just knew, like, hey,
I have friends.
We're all friends. We're cool. I have these feelings, but she's not like, acting on them in a way. Like it's nothing. It's casual. You know what I mean? To her parents, like, hey, you got to make decisions. Somebody's gonna get hurt. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't think she was doing it intentionally, like to the point where even like the guy was confused. Like, I showed up. Like, what are you doing? You got the other dude that you like here. He's like, nah, we just chilling. we just cool.
And then she called the record store girl, I believe, who we know likes her, and apparently her parents know likes her. When that's the line you said, that she has to make a decision about who she's going to date, whatever, and she's kind of like, she's phoning a friend, but the friends she's phoning are people who are interested in her. So that's a little problematic if you look at it through that lens. Like, regardless of sex or gender, like if a male character was doing this, I'd be calling it out too. So for anyone who's thinking that we're only picking on her because it's a female,
come on,
lead. No, well, I'm just covering that base just in case.
It's not that type of show, people. Come on,
we're objective. We're objective here. So that's what we see. We see a lot of Scooby-Dooing where there's like a mystery to solve in the town where she's kind of dragging everybody in with her. And then there's a small portion where she's trying to find her powers. And as of the first 2 episodes, how would you describe what her powers are per se?
If I had to guess, because they don't tell you, telekinesis maybe. Because she's like, they show like the swirling leaves and the electricity shortage and stuff like that's going on, and everybody was like, "Was that you? No, that was you. No, that was not. You think that's me? That's you. Like who is it? Like somebody identify it." But I don't know. I mean, like I said, I've never read any of the source material. I don't know anything about the character. I don't know what her abilities are, what she can do. And I didn't even know about this until they started advertising the show. But the first 2 episodes do a horrible job of explaining what her powers are, and I guess I don't know if that's going to be a thing like down the line. Like we're just going to go kind of like Smallville, where like every season of Smallville, to like he will unlock something new that he didn't know how to do before or something like that. I think it might go that route.
Okay,
but yeah, they don't tell you.
So looking really quickly what her powers in the comics are in the source material: superhuman strength, superhuman durability, flight and energy manipulation, and projection. So if I had to compare it to another character, I would say what? Photon from the MCU? Monica Rambeau's character?
Oh.
Superhuman strength, superhuman durability, flight, and energy manipulation and projection. So, and again, it's almost like Superman-esque almost, right?
Right.
Like energy manipulation with heat vision. Like we don't know what she does, but right now, all we've seen is that she can control leaves. That's it. Like it's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She can just control leaves.
One of the things we were talking about on take 1 was just kind of the dialogue, man. Like,
oh man, that's not even. Oh, please, yes, talk about that.
And this is a CW show, so kind of CW's formula, and not taking away from those other actors because they're better actors and they're like trained like theater actors that have been on the stuff, for like on the Flash and Arrow and stuff like that. But usually these shows have a formula where, the origin story that they find a team, their friends find out or something like that. They help them, get like that. But all these people feel like they just got the job on set day one and they film right there. You know what I mean? Like, with the exception of the lead, like everybody felt like they were reading the script to me.
Mm-hmm. No, that's
Like,
perfectly put, because we said this in take one. Kaci Walfall, the main character of the show, seems to be the only one that's gone to like acting school,
Right.
or has any sort of acting prowess, because everyone else's performance, with the exception, it wasn't even the mom. Like, I went on Wikipedia, like I told you, and only 2 of the characters listed here, or 3, have actually done other work. So, yeah, so interesting. Hold on one second. Like, I'm looking right now, the dad character. Oh, I just realized the dad character is the brother from Seventh Heaven.
Which brother? The
The
small
older
brother?
brother. The older brother.
Man, I don't remember the brothers from that show. Like,
Barry Watson, Matt
oh
Camden, the older
yeah,
brother.
geez, yeah. Dang, wow.
It just dawned on me looking at the Wikipedia, and he does not look like he did, obviously, in Seventh Heaven, but
Right.
wow. If him and the mom character are the only 2 people who have any kind of real acting credits to their name, oh, this show's in trouble. Oh, this show is in deep trouble already. But to be fair, Smallville, save for Michael Rosenbaum, had the same issue when it first dropped. Kristen Crook and Tom Welling were models.
Well, the father was acting. He was acting.
Well, yeah. Well,
the mom,
yes.
They had a really good cast, like that first season. The dude who played Lex's father, like, I don't know. I'm not giving this show no excuse, man. Like, that show had some good actors on it. You know what I mean? The writing was, so and so every now and then, but yeah.
Agreed. But going, like, keeping it to this show, like the main characters, like, there's something missing already for me.
Chemistry.
And that's one. And number 2, it's something we talked about in take one, where I feel, even though we may not be the target audience, some of the verbiage, the language, it's missing. It's not connecting with us so far. And just the nuances. There were moments where I'm stuck between, I'm not as bad as the parents in terms of like my overall dorkiness and what have you, but the teenage angst is where you have me face palming, so if anything, I'm the teacher wearing the leather jacket that
Real
you think
cringe.
is a cool, like Mr. Turner from Boy Meets World. I'm that guy in both worlds. So as we watch this show and as we see this develop, and hopefully it gets better, right? Let's try to give it like you said, you give it a 3 episode try before you pull out. So
we got to keep in mind too that we kind of got a unfinished product. They might change some scenes around, when they actually air it, when it comes out like the 16th or 17th next week, whenever it drops, they might change some stuff around and give it a better flow. So like you said, we might get a different product when it actually hits air, and of course with all the special effects done.
True, because we complained about that and then we got kind of scolded.
It was funny.
It's not a finished product.
But the effect stuff didn't affect the dialogue and the story.
Because they were just wooden.
Yeah. And because it wasn't that many scenes, to be honest.
Not at all. And again, you're right. Maybe when it's in the post-production and the final production, the effects will look better. But the dialogue, I think for me, the dialogue is disruptive. It did not bring me in. And I'm trying to find something good to talk about.
I mean, I'm only thing.
Did you find something after the fact?
I hope that the lead, this is a jumping off point for her. This is, this is something that's going to be good. But they gotta show me something more, man. Like, especially if the demographic for CW is what we say, like 18 to 15 to 40, 15 to 35,
15 to 35.
Right. Like I said, these first 2 is not. I don't think it's going to be. They need to show those first 2 episodes the same day, because there's no way in the world I'm coming back to episode 2 after 1. That's just me.
Right.
It was slow.
Oh, let's fingers and toes crossed, man. That like as we go forward, we're not going to be subjected to it being just a dramedy without the superheroism. You know, I like if I'm a comics or hero fan, I want to see this stuff. And if you don't bring me in the first couple of episodes with that stuff, I'm out. You
And
know,
that's
I've never gotten into the Flash for that same reason.
right. But I would disagree with you on that, right? Because I feel like
Okay.
the Flash, Arrow, Legends, all those they jump off and give you what you need for like within the first episode. Like
Okay.
and that's mainly because after Arrow, everything else was a spinoff. So all those characters were already kind of in their groove. So you didn't have to establish anything. Flash had already, got his powers within Arrow, and we just kind of jumped in, But this show, we have no idea what we're getting. But the hardest job I think is going to be maintaining an audience with this show. Like you said, not just the writing, but where it's going. But I think the big Ava DuVernay being attached to it is probably going to keep people along for the ride.
Because at the very least, hopeful, right?
Right.
Right.
The whole Superman thing. Now that I think about it, we were talking.
How many times did they reference Superman by name?
40. At least 40. Now that I think about it, because this is a small town and it's kind of all out of the way, maybe that news didn't reach them. So they just like Superman exists in fiction and comics, but like it's so maybe they're so far out that because he means Metropolis, right? So we don't know how early on this is and Superman's career, stuff like that. So I don't know. It's one of the things I would have to keep watching, and I don't think I'm gonna do that, but hope
if we have to watch, if we're gonna watch it for the sake of reviews, we'll do that. But hopefully it gets better. Just hopefully. And that's my 2 cents. I don't want to kind of just bash on this show, but that's my limit. That's where we're at. So personally, just hopefully it gets better. If it doesn't, guys and gals, tell us if we're wrong. Let us know in the comments. Are we right? Are we wrong? How do you feel about the show so far? But that's all I got. What about you?
Like I said, I don't know if the plan is to bring this into the herd like every other show on the CW. Because that was kind of where, that was kind of the issue with when they brought Supergirl over from CBS and had the other show and Black Lightning was to bring everybody together because they were creating more problems for themselves. So I wonder if this is going to be a thing. Because I said, we don't know the timeline. If they're going to eventually bring her into the CW fold, if CW still exists, later years down the line. But I wonder if they're going to eventually bring her in. And if so, how much older is she going to be? How much more developed is she going to be as a character?
The team up's coming because that's what CW does.
They just did the Flash Armageddon thing. So I don't know, man. It feels like pretty much after Arrow left, like all the shows that's coming in after, it just seem like they don't have a chance because I feel like everybody's kind of done with that era of the TV superheroes and they're ready to move on to something else. Like it was cool when it lasted, but I feel like Naomi came in at the wrong time. Yeah. Like maybe the wrong time, maybe a couple years ago, but it just doesn't seem like it's gonna work out for her.
Well, we'll see. Maybe like you said, it's a matter of right place, wrong time.
Right.
But again, let us know in the comments here at Big Gold Belt Media. Just let us know personally if we're off. If you think like I'm right in the fact that we're not the age demographic and that's why we see it a little differently, that's fine too. We're open to all communication, all opinion. Let us know in the comments down below. And again, I'm Damon G. That's Terrell. This is our review of the first 2 episodes of Naomi. Let us know what you think. We'll catch you next time.